Oh, hello. Welcome.
We did it.
We did it, and we are live. So, welcome to our first Truth Bomb Tuesday with Cara and Sarah Jane. Yay, we got the technology to work. So,
awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Absolutely great. And while we're just waiting for some of you to come in and join us, let us know what you'd like for us to discuss for our topics going forward. And we'll get the show on the road. So,
what's all that stuff behind you, Sarah Jane? All those boxes.
My husband is an avid toy connector. Yippee! Hi, Sue. Hi, Tony. Nice to see you here. Let us know what's going on in your life and what you'd like to discuss. So I'm still trying to figure out how this all works. So let's see what's going on. Cryptocurrency all the way, says Tony Tate. Tony will have to do a show, especially all about that and how to create your own economy, which is all about service. And let us know. Let us know if you're tuning in now or if you're going to watch this on the replay. What would you like for us to discuss? Renewable energy, says Tony. How do I show people's comments? This is quite fun. This is a new platform called Be Live, and we're still finding our way. So, Sue, any questions? If you have any questions, let us know what you'd like us to talk about. And in the meantime, Cara, why don't you just introduce yourself to everybody so that they know who you are and a little bit about why we decided to do this.
Okay, well, so I'm Dr. Cara Gubbins, and I have a business with a lot of names, actually, and they all kind of reflect different aspects of what I do. So a spiritual tale is kind of my talking to animals and helping connect people to animals part of it. The awakened soul is my people part of it, where I help people come into higher consciousness and clear whatever's holding them back or blocking them from living the life that they want to live. And one of the biggest things in my world is the Animal Wisdom Circle, where we meet each month to talk to the animals and get some spiritual guidance for ourselves. And we also get to see what it's like to be that animal, which is something I've been doing since I was this big, just what's it like to be a dolphin? I want to, walk around like a tiger. And so this is a place where we do that. And how we came to this point was that I interview a guest expert every month as part of my Animal Wisdom Circle. And Sarah Jane was my guest again this month. 2 years ago, I think we met 2 years ago, and we just had this spark between us and have so much common ground, and the conversations we have are just so rich that we don't want them to ever end. So we want to keep them going here, basically.
Yeah, that's great.
Venue.
That's great, and. Yeah, I think what we really wanted to just get this sort of show party started was to just really encourage you to participate, give us some hearts, give us some likes, tag a friend, and let us know, what is current, what's going on in your life, what is, what are some of the things that you are wanting clarity on that perhaps we can support you in, and also, what are the animals asking of us? And as we are asking on the bottom of this little funny thing that's going along is we've just had Earth Day come up, and my question has really been how can we contribute more to the earth? How can we be of more service? And probably the simplest answer that I keep getting from the animals is to just be myself. To just show up, that it's not about doing or being, but just to show up and do what you do. in life, which is to live from authenticity and vulnerability, and to ask lots of questions. So yeah, do you have anything to add to that, Cara?
I think that's it. I mean, that's really the heart of why we're here. We're here to be ourselves. And when we aren't being ourselves, then things aren't happening. And with all the things that are happening on our planet today in terms of politics and environment and, all kinds of just crazy stuff, from the smallest scale to the biggest scale, right? There's imbalance, I think, in our world on every level right now. And if we're not really fully in ourselves, then we're not fully responding to what's going on. And when we respond is when we can make changes. When we take action, we can make changes. But so many of us, and not, not like you guys out there, but like, often we find ourselves like, oh, I'm not going to say anything, or somebody else is going to take charge on this. And I think what goes along with what you're saying, Sarah Jane, is that when we become ourselves and we feel free to express who we are, then we speak up in those situations. Then we say no thanks to the plastic bottle of something, or we bring our own shopping bag, or we help somebody we see on the street. And that's what changes the world. And that's what I think our planet is asking of us right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. I love that Sue Zink is saying, my cat, whenever she's awake, is very active and busy. She knocks over everything in our house, and my husband and I are so frustrated. I think she's teaching us to lighten up, but we're terribly frustrated with her behavior. How can I best help? My 2 cents on that, Sue, and thank you for asking the question, is I once had a Great Dane, not a Great Dane. I had a client that came to me with a cat, and she said something very similar, which was that this cat was really being clumsy. She wasn't being this feline, graceful energy of a cat that she was supposed to be. And she'd try and, jump on the curtains, and she'd fall off them and break things. And the first thing that I like to ask when I'm working with animals is there an entity attached? And when we asked this cat what was going on with her, I got this huge surprise that there was a Great Dane trapped in her cat's body. So when we removed the entity of the Great Dane, she became all feline and agile and careful again. So, that was really funny, but it was also just such an awareness for us that sometimes I see this so often with people that'll say, oh, you know what? I want to come back as the Queen's Corgi in my next life. And I say, be careful what you wish for, because if there are other entities in our bodies, we are not the one that's in charge. We're not the one that's actually making the decisions. And it happens with cats and dogs too. It's just like, the best way to do that is I would say, Sue, ask your cat if there's something else in her body, and if they'd like to leave, with that Great Dane, we kind of said to him, well, go find a Great Dane that's about to give birth and go jump into one of those bodies, because remember, we're all entities and we're all here to experience life in physical form. And just a side note on that, I was really surprised, because of all the work that I'd done with animal communications in the past, I'd never thought that animals cross species. I don't know if you've had any awareness on that, Cara, but I didn't know animals cross species. I thought dogs stayed dogs and lions stayed lions. But this experience with this cat really opened my eyes to have a wider perspective that anything is possible. And sometimes we make mistakes and jump into the wrong bodies. I've had horses too in the past. I had one horse that had a really strange form on her neck, and again, there was an emu trapped in this horse's body. So once we removed the entity of the emu, the horse's neck straightened out. So no amount of chiropractic or anything was helping. And it's really, I think what I love about doing this work, as I know you do, Cara, is the animals are constantly teaching us about, just how small we actually do think, and how easy it is for us to get trapped in the conclusional reality rather than looking at, okay, what else is possible and what's going on here. So that's my 2 cents of that, Sue. I hope that helps. Do you have anything to add, Cara?
Well, I have 2 things that strike me about Sue's comment, and the first, sorry, I have a thing that keeps popping up on my screen. The first is to follow up on what you said, is I look at the 5 levels of our being all the time: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and energetic. And if, like, in that case, the physical wasn't helping, then is there a spiritual cause? Is there an energetic cause? What's the emotions that are going on? So always looking at all 5 aspects of our being, I think, is a really great place to start. But also, Sue, you talk about, you say, I think she's teaching us to lighten up. And I want you to just take a moment and sit with that and really ask yourself, like, why do you think that? Where do you need to lighten up in your life? And what would be possible if you did lighten up about this situation? How would you approach it differently? Maybe you think of, a great, really simple solution of, I don't know, taking your cats for walks, or some kind of a toy, or setting up something else where she can have that same activity without breaking stuff, because we don't want to break stuff. But I really trust that if you feel like there's a lesson about lightening up in there, that there probably is. And to take a moment to just go a little deeper in that. What is your intuition telling you about that? And if you lean into it, how does it feel? And then what comes from that? But to me, that first step is trusting your intuition and just leaning into it a little bit more.
Yeah, I love that you added that, because absolutely, we have to look at all 5 levels, and we're body, mind, spirit, heart, we're all of it. And if you're asking the question, I would definitely say lean into trust on that, as Cara said, because oftentimes we do take ourselves so seriously, and that's just a great awareness to actually be able to receive the information without labeling it as a bad behavior or anything else, but just to say, I often say in my animal communication sessions, I always say, could you just help me here? I'm a little slow as a human. could you show me more of what you're asking for? And they're always so eager and generous with their replies. And I also think that if we ever sort of get stuck on something, it's because oftentimes we have a truth with a lie attached. So the question of what does trust have to do with anything is really looking at the difference between truth and what's true. For me, a truth is somebody's fixed point of view about what they think is right, and they wanted to often to deliver it to us. Animals are not like that, but I find that humans really function from that point of view. So I always like to ask, what part of this is the truth? Because what's true for me doesn't necessarily have to be true for you. And what part of it is a lie? So oftentimes when we're speaking, there's an unspoken element to it where we feel that. We pick up on other people's energy, because our first line of communication is energy. And oftentimes it'll feel light at the beginning, and then it kind of gets heavy at the end. And if you really sort of take time to just push pause and slow it down, you'll see that there's some truth to it. Even when you read stuff, this is a really good way of staying in your truth, which is why we called this Truth Bomb Tuesdays, because we want to look at, what is true for you? What do you care about? What moves and motivates you? And really returning to that part of trust where you can trust yourself above anything else. Your animals better than anybody else. And, one of the universal laws for me is that what we think is truth is generally the truth. So I always like to add truth before I ask someone a question, either out loud or in my head, because then you'll pick out what is true for you and what is a lie. So that's just another fun tip that I like to use to really look at, if it's light, it's true. If it's heavy, it's a lie. And following through, following your body's impulse, following what your cat or your dog is trying to teach you. So yeah, any other questions coming in? I'm just checking this feed. This is quite fun, that we can see the comments on the bottom.
I can't see them, Sarah Jane. I'm glad you're reading them, because I can't see them.
Oh, can you not see it on the bottom of the screen? It's like a red. Oh, okay. So can you see that?
When you do that, yeah, it shows up like above your face.
Yeah.
On my screen.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, we'll iron out the chinks of all of this, but no other comments. So if you are going to listen to this on the replay, just leave your comments, and Cara and I will be sure to answer them as best as we can. And be sure to join us next Tuesday at the same time.
Yeah.
So just 20-minute little sound bites of love and connection for you to really ask us anything. And also to contribute what you know about all of this, because together we grow. And it's so much more fun, isn't it?
It's way better to do it together than on our own.
Absolutely. Yeah. So anything else you'd like to say? I'm playing with the buttons here. This is fun.
I can see that. I get these little notifications that you're changing things. But I don't see anything changing at my end. So
yeah.
Hope it's all good.
Yeah. So just in closing, because we really want to keep these to 20 minutes. What else would you like to say about Earth Day, or how we can perhaps contribute to the Earth? Because I know this is a big topic, Cara, right now, where people are really thinking that what they are doing and how they are showing up isn't enough. So what would you say to somebody that's kind of doubting that their contribution is enough?
Oh, so last year in the Animal Wisdom Circle, I talked to a manatee in Florida, and she had the best advice because this question came up there, and she was, pretty strongly upset about global climate change, and so we asked her, what can we do? And her answer was amazing, and it's perfect for the question you're asking. Whenever you're faced with an option, choose the simplest choice. So if you're faced with, buying vegetables in the grocery store, and you could get the packaged ones that are in, like a little styrofoam plate and cellophane on top and stickers and blah, blah, blah. Or you could just grab a couple and not even put them in a bag, but just put them in your shopping cart. Choose that. And that's been one of my guiding principles for a long time, because there's always something that I can do in every situation whenever I'm faced with that choice. Choose the simplest option. So that's my closer, Sarah Jane.
I love that. And I'm so glad you brought that up, because I've been seeing a lot of very disturbing images on Facebook and social media about just how much plastic is landing up in the oceans. And also on the good note, actually seeing that, these are what these Truth Bomb Tuesdays are about, is how can we make small changes that are going to create big impact. And it comes down to buying local, buying things that are in season, and saying no to your local grocers and stores that you don't want all the plastic. I'm horrified by the amount of plastic waste that accumulates within a week of my life. And, unless we actually speak out and start saying, no, we're not going to support you, and support your local farmers market, or support your local people, where we're eliminating the greenhouse gases by vegetables and fruit being flown in from all over the world, we do get to make a difference. So, your voice does count. And as Manatee so beautifully told us, that it starts with small actions to have great change. And also start up drives in your community. I have the Crocodile River running through my where I live, and every weekend the community gets together and we go and we clean up the banks of the river and take out all the plastics. So don't let anybody ever think that your small choices are not making a difference, because they add up to big change. And on that note, that's our first 20-minute Tuesday. Let us know if you like them. Yay. We did it. We sorted technology out. And just remember that the power of choice is yours, and you get to choose to create a better life for you, for the animals, for the planet, just by showing up and speaking your truth. So stay in your truth, shine your light, and know that we appreciate you. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.